So if we can move on to the next slide, please, Alice. So our agenda for this morning is a sort of a very brief welcome and overview from me. Then we'll move on to a little bit of an introduction about Chinese New Year tradition from Isabel. Then Alice will speak to us about the broader ideas behind and the history behind this of the ETAG China Ready program and the China Ready involvement in the New Year festival, and also about the how to get involved. And that's the key sort of set of messages for this morning is getting involved, and we want as many people as possible to get involved. And then Torrance will round off in the last bit of his presentation on the New Year key visual design concept and the assets which we're going to be using to promote the activities. And then we'll, a Q&A at the end. We will be finished hopefully within an hour, so taking up not too much time of your Friday morning. So welcome everyone, and we're really excited about gradually getting back to normal. It's been a long old road, hasn't it? So we've been supporting the Chinese New Year celebrations for a number of years now, from sort of sponsoring behind the scenes from the Heriot-Watt Confucius Institute, and it being run with our very, very talented and capable friends at ETAG, and of course all of you as industry partners through the city and beyond the city, bringing together in a sort of a coordinated program in what is a quieter part of the year, but an excellent time for celebration and to celebrate Chinese culture. The visual that's up on the screen now is, of course, which was our centerpiece from last year, which was again somewhat delayed because of COVID. We had a bit of a completely online festival last year in many cases, but our Highland Cow for the Year of the Ox, produced by the incredibly talented contemporary artist Ian Kirkpatrick, finally got installed in on the Royal Mile in Visit Scotland's Eye Centre from May last year, and was only taken out just a little while before Christmas, and has now taken up residence on her new pasture in the library at Heriot-Watt University. And everyone is very, very welcome to come and see our Highland, our Year of the, sort of our Year of the Ox celebration sculpture, which became sort of very much emblematic as the Year of the Coup. Our role at the Confucius Institute is to work behind the scenes to support things, and to put a bit of pump priming into bringing together the many partners and cultural organizations, businesses, retail, hotels across the city to try and support celebrating the Chinese New Year and understanding Chinese culture. Our role at the Confucius Institute is absolutely about supporting cross-cultural understanding and supporting engagement with both China and Chinese culture. Things around business etiquette, cultural awareness training, language training, and we're really proud to support ETAG's China Ready program as part of that, as a result of sort of, discussions where things have already happened for many, many years around Chinese New Year in the city. And we saw the opportunity to bring things together in a broader set of circumstances and really celebrate in more of a coordinated festival way. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been able to do this, and ETAG have taken the Chinese New Year festival to heart, and it now forms, I think, a key part of the start of the year's celebrations. And we're looking forward again in 2022 to celebrating the Year of the Tiger. So enough from me. I'm going to hand on now to Isabel to tell you a bit more about Chinese New Year. Isabel, you're on mute at the moment.
Good morning, I'm Isabel. Given ETAG's campaign for Chinese New Year have been so successful over the last few years, I bet you all know so much about the Chinese New Year and Chinese New Year custom. So it's become a bit of a challenge to talk about Chinese New Year's without repeating the old talk that you have heard and you have known so well about. So today I will try to focus on some new angles of our customs that you may or may not know. So if we go to next slide. Yes. Chinese New Year, as you know, we call it Spring Festival. And first one is for every time you celebrate Chinese New Year, you need to find out when that is, because we use the lunar calendar to calculate Chinese New Year. And the first one is for this year, January 31st and February 6th. That's the official Chinese New Year celebration, meaning bank holiday time in China. Why this is actually new or relevant to us? Well, from a business perspective, if you do work with Chinese colleagues during this period, it'll be so nice if you don't contact them for business, because they'll be straight on banqueting, drinking, mahjonging. So that just shows that you know Chinese culture and you respect Chinese culture so much that you will know during this period, all you should do is just sending Happy New Year messages and wish them wealth and health and anything else you want to wish them, but avoid talk shop during this period because they're straight on holiday. So that's the only thing that I thought that is worth knowing if you do business with China. And another bit you probably already know is everybody knows is Year of Tiger. But actually, this is not just any tiger, it's a water tiger. So what does Year of Water Tiger means to you? Venture a guess? Well, the answer is that if have a think about what water means to you, or the features or anything that you associate water with, and write 2 or 3 features or things that you can think of with water, and that would be a feature of your water tiger year. So this can be a little bit of a game that you can try with yourself. Okay, what do I think of water? What are features of water? And that will be my year. But you have to do it in the right sequence. You can't do it, oh, this is going to be how my luck looks like for the year of water tiger. I want wealth. So that water, I see water is just water floating with money. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to get, not to think much about what you wish for the new year, but really see what water actually will associate with in your mind. Just 2 or 3 of them, and that will shows how your probably luck or the feature of your year of water tiger looks like. And for me, I have to think about, actually, when I think of water, I think of things like, being flexible, adaptable. But again, I think these 2 features basically kind of summed up our life for the last 2 years when we living through the pandemic. So this is something that you can do with you and your family. You can just test them, because it's a good thing that you can bring new things, because there's so many people already know so much about Chinese New Year. So you can always try to impress your family and friends to say, you know what, we can do something more with Chinese New Year. Here is what little game. What does water mean for you? And now we know roughly what your year is going to look like. And the next one is about the Chinese New Year, because we now know that Chinese New Year is calculated according to the lunar calendar. That is no news. But do you know that which particular date that we calculate, we celebrate Chinese New Year according to the lunar calendar? I think a lot of people probably know it's the December 30th. But there's another interesting fact which happens very often according to lunar calendar, we don't have December 30th. So that makes it slightly tricky that you have to know if you want to calculate it yourself. And the reason that I want to, another related point is that for Chinese people, traditionally, we also celebrate our birthday and calculate which zodiac year we actually belong according to the lunar calendar. I mean, some young Chinese may say, no, why don't do that? But traditionally, that's what we do. Recently, I think there's quite a modernized way of looking at it. People just use the solar calendar. But traditionally, for example, you're born in 2015, January 8th. But when it's 2011, if you calculate your birthday according to the lunar calendar, next year, it's just like Chinese New Year. Your birthday is not going to be the January 8th. So that is something quite interesting. And you can always have a goal that, okay, I'm very interested in to find out what is my Chinese birthday, i.e. the lunar calendar birthday. And for zodiac year, actually the same, because very often if you have attended the Chinese New Year custom talks, you will see typically the particular zodiac animal, and they will list the years. And actually the cutoff, because it's lunar calendar, the cutoff and the starting of that new zodiac animal is not the same and as needed as just the solar year. So you can also have a look, have some correction, like, oh, I think I'm a tiger, I'm ox, but have a look to see the Chinese New Year period in a particular year you were born. And then you will find out which animal, which zodiac actually you belong to. And for my household, actually, it's always an interesting point, because my birthday is celebrated in a traditional way. And my birthday is so close to the Chinese New Year Eve. And very often, if there's no 30th of December for the Chinese New Year, like this year, then my birthday kind of getting closer to the New Year Eve. And for those people whose birthday is a bit further, it doesn't really have impact. But if for like my family who are not, some of my family are not traditionally Chinese, and they don't really quite get it, like how to calculate birthday in that way, they try to get smart, saying, okay, I know Chinese New Year Eve. Oh, your birthday is a few days in between, so I'm just going to add a number to that, and then based on the Chinese New Year date, I will get your birthday. So very often they get it wrong, and I end up with 2 birthday cakes. One is the cake that they ordered in advance, which something that they think I like. And the other one is I got it because when they suddenly realized, oh no, that's the wrong date. So they rushed out and they just grab any birthday cake on display. So I often end up with a surprise cake, which depends on the popularity of certain cakes in certain shops. Yeah. So this is something that's fun for you, that you can do a little Chinese New Year tradition. Say, okay, let's find out which is your Chinese birthday, or which the zodiac you actually belong to, if you want to calculate it in a Chinese way. Right. These are the little games you can do with your family. And next slide. Oh, next slide. Basically, you can use this as a guidance just to find out. Okay, those so-called 1950 tigers, actually, where do they start in 1950, and where do they end? So you can find out whether actually they are the real tiger or they're actually ox. So for people, for example, they're born today, they're not tiger according to the Chinese tradition. They are still ox, because the tiger only starts this year from February 1st. And next one, next slide. And typically what we associate tiger with in Chinese culture. So this will be a little game, the water plus the features of tigers. And typically for Chinese New Year, we like to say all the good qualities of that particular zodiac. We do that even for pigs or rats. So we tend to sing praises for the particular zodiac animal of the year. So what I didn't list is the not so negative, the weaknesses probably of a tiger baby. Potentially, there's only a couple of them, like it's good to be ambitious, but possibly their weakness would be they could be over ambitious, they could be overpowering and arrogant. So that's probably the the limitations of our tiger baby, but which can always be overcome with efforts. And another thing that I probably you have noticed from these two slides is there's a they're very cute chubby tigers, which I picked from a very famous cartoonist. I think the reason I look at them, I just make me want to laugh. And I think they're cute and chubby. I think you must notice the chubby part. And I think that particular chubbiness kind of summed up how I and maybe some have inflated during the lockdown years. So when I see them, I was like, oh, these tigers have gone through lockdowns, various lockdowns during the pandemic with us. So I thought this cartoon tigers seem to really kind of relate to us. That's why I chose them instead of the typical intimidating tiger images. Great. And so the next bit of my talk is about temple fair. Actually, last year Alice has compared Christmas with Chinese New Year. And as a continuation, I thought that'd be good for me to talk about what is Christmas market in the Chinese New Year context. And then I find temple fair. So for the temple fair, that is really like a bit like a Christmas market for Chinese during the Chinese New Year period. And I'm going to show you what they look like. Next slide. So temple fair, typically, you will know, it already tells you the location. It's around the temple. And what we do is also has changed over the years. So in the past, because it's a temple fair, typically the main activities people do are religion and commerce. By religion, really, there will be temples, and typically people will have incense, bring their offerings, and make their prayers, and visit the various gods in the temples. And the difference between Christmas and Chinese New Year is actually for these temples, we tend to have multiple gods. So there are gods who is looking after wealth, health, career, study. You know how Chinese people value education, children, having more children, and marriage. So the tradition of the concept actually of delegation and division of labor started very early in China. So we have different gods which guarding different remit. So this is one of the big things that when people in the past attend temple fair, they need on New Year, make New Year wish, make their prayer, and hoping that will come true. And around the temple, there will be a fair where you can see the traditional performances, line dancing, arts and crafts, Chinese New Year decorations, snacks, food, all kinds of things. And the importance of the temple fair actually for many is also it's a time for the family to have an outing during the Chinese New Year time. As you probably know, during Chinese New Year time, the feature is more like endless banqueting, eating, drinking, and playing mahjong. That's all indoor. So this is a good opportunity that people can come out, have a pleasant break from this non-stop eating, drinking, and mahjong playing. And actually for the endless banqueting, we have a water-related phrase, 流水席. It's like water flow, like the banqueting, like a stream of water, which means it's endless in a way. For example, I'm from north part of China, that we take hospitality and banqueting to a very extreme. So whenever you have guests come and visit you, wish you Happy New Year, although you already have a banquet on, you will try to add more new dishes to feed them, or just as a gesture to show, oh yes, you are particularly welcome in my household. So temple fair is a really good opportunity for people just to take a break from this non-stop banqueting. So next page, I'm going to show you how the temple fair looks like traditionally. So what you see on this page is the typical performance that they're going to see. The children will play the fireworks, firecrackers, there'll be line dancing, and around it, that's the traditional Chinese architecture. I think nowadays for temples, we still retain its original architecture features. So the temples do look like more or less similar to what we used to have. And next slide. And this is how the temple fair looks like as well, with various stands. As I said, it's a commerce, so people is busy selling things, buying things. And on the right-hand side, there are places, actually, that's a stage, and there's restaurants, there's bars, there are places people can visit. So that is what we generally have for temple fair. And nowadays, we still in many places have temple fair events, but not in every place. But hopefully one day, with the success of ETAG, there will be a little temple fair somewhere in Edinburgh for a particular year. Yeah. So before I end my presentation, go to the next slide. Yes, we always end with a couple of Chinese phrases. And for the first one, I think everybody knows so well, as you will hear this in most Chinese New Year talk. 新年快乐. But with the tiger twist is 虎虎生威. What it means is like your ear going to roar like a tiger. So on that tiger note, that's the end of my PPT. I hope you have a wonderful year of tiger.
Thank you, Isabel. Morning, everyone. I'll start my video now. So morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Chinese New Year Business Briefing event on a Friday morning. My name is Alice He, so many of you have already known me for the previous years, and I am now the project manager of ETAG China Ready initiative. So to start my presentation today, I'm going to share some quick updates about the China Ready initiative. So first of all, it is our most successful Chinese social media campaign. So we have launched the China Ready initiative in Edinburgh in the November of 2015, and it has proved to be a very successful campaign in the city to bring in Chinese visitors to our beloved city and to help local businesses to get China ready. And as part of the initiative, the Chinese social media campaign has always been a key foundation of it. So we are running the official Weibo and WeChat account for Edinburgh in the Chinese market. And we have achieved incredible results over the last challenging year. So we are the most successful Weibo and WeChat accounts in Europe, outperforming all other European cities in the past years. And especially in 2021, we were like we were on the top place in the world. And last year, the top 10 WeChat posts from DMOs, we have managed to get number 1, number 2, number 3. All top 3 articles were from Edinburgh. And these results all reinforces the importance of the Chinese market in terms of the tourism recovery process. So in 2021, another very important focus we have is to keep engaging with domestic-based Chinese students. They are indeed the largest and the most influential international student market in the UK. And we have been running the student campaign over the last 5 years. We have updated the Chinese student travel guidebook to Edinburgh last year, and we have again hosted our annual Chinese student welcome event virtually with University of Edinburgh. And after that event, we have created a new student WeChat group with over 540 members, where we could have direct communications with the Edinburgh-based Chinese students to share all the event information, what's on, and special promotions targeting the market. And last year, we have also opened the registration for the Year 6 Chinese social media campaign with new partners like Strasbourg and Cambridge Central Company joining. And we have also created bespoke projects to work with some fantastic partners like Johnny Walker Princess Street, Disney, and Harvey Nichols. So we are going to launch the Year 7 campaign very soon in the spring. So we will open for the registration in March. So if you are interested in joining the Chinese social media campaign, do get in touch, and I will reach out to many of you in March as well. Last year, another important mission for us is to support tourism recovery of the city. So we've been utilizing our very successful Weibo and WeChat channel to drive bookings and footfalls for Edinburgh's festivals, Christmas, for our partners and all the local businesses through our channels. And we have created a brand new bespoke Unpack China training toolkit, which will be launched in the spring as well. And this toolkit will be online and with open and free access for all the tourism businesses in Scotland to help you get ready before our visitors physically come back. And also, thanks to the support from Heriot-Watt Confucius Institute, we have managed to deliver the Year of the Coup campaign in 2021. So that's our very iconic coup installation at the Visit Scotland Eye Centre. So we have managed, although the last year has been very challenging and with lots of uncertainties, but we have managed to deliver the Chinese New Year campaign successfully with 47 events and promotions, which is a 15% increase from previous year. We have also managed to double the content views on our social media channels from last year. And of course, the most important thing today is about the Year of the Tiger, and I'm going to talk you through how you can get involved. So as Isabel mentioned, the Chinese New Year and the Year of the Tiger begins on the 1st of February, and we have set the campaign period from the 29th of January to the 13th of February, so we can hand over to the Valentine's Day. But don't worry about the campaign period if you feel like you need more time to think about your event ideas, or if you really want to host something offline at a later stage. We are pretty flexible this year, so although lots of major activities will happen between the campaign period, but we'll still open for you to submit your listing information or promotions at a later stage. And as Isabel mentioned, the tiger really symbolize brave and strength and confidence in Chinese culture. So that's why we are really using this opportunity to create a responsible and optimistic citywide celebration to support the recovery efforts. So that's why we have set the slogan as a roaring New Year and a broad Chinese New Year celebration. And so far, we have already received lots of fantastic event ideas. So including virtual events like a Chinese New Year taster, Tai Chi class, and also we are going to work with Red Unit and Heriot-Watt Confucius Institute to deliver a China business workshop in February. We will make sure to send you the information after when we have confirmed the date. And there will also be lots of COVID-safe offline events. So for example, there will be Chinese New Year celebrations at the Castle Esplanade on the 30th of January. And there will also be an in-store event at Strasbourg Maltese Walk on the 29th of January. You will be able to work with a Chinese calligrapher to write some Chinese very lucky characters and to do a lucky draw with Strasbourg. And we also have Mulan coming soon in the spring at the Royal Botanic Garden. And there's also a lot of food and drink offer, including the Flavors of Asia afternoon tea at Waldorf. And Harvey Nichols also is going to launch a Lunar New Year cocktails menu with exclusive retail offer in partnership with Alipay and WeChat Pay. And as usual, lots of international brands and luxury brands, they would create limited edition Chinese New Year products for Chinese New Year. So for example, Johnny Walker Blue Label has created a limited edition Lunar New Year version, and brands like Strasbourg, like Burberry, lots of luxury brands, they have also launched their Year of the Tiger brand new product line as well. So those are all the inspirations you could think of about what to do in your own business. And also, at the very least, if it is available, you could always light up your building in red. We are working with a list of landmarks this year again, so we will expect to see lots of buildings light up in red in the evening of the 1st of February. In terms of the campaign plan, we have planned all kinds of campaign activities and promotional activities utilizing different platforms and media partners. So there will be a dedicated Chinese New Year website, which is chinesenewyar.scot. We will be able to feature all the event and promotional listings on the website. And so everyone can feel free to submit your listings to me, and we will be able to help you to put that on the website so everyone can use it to see your listings. And of course, there's going to be a PR launch and press release. And because it is the Year of the Tiger, so we are going to do the PR launch at Edinburgh Zoo with our beloved tigers. And also we have booked outdoor advertising campaign. We've got 75 telephone boxes around the city to support the mainstream awareness with the website web link on it. And also we will support all the local businesses and all the participants to promote your events and promotions or any kind of Chinese New Year and Year of the Tiger related activities through our Chinese social media channels, as well as the Forever Edinburgh channels. And we'll also work with media outlets with paid and organic campaigns to deliver exposure. So all of this will be for free for everyone to join. So please do take this opportunity to think about what you can do and to submit your listings to us and leave the rest to us. Next. Yeah, so in terms of the target markets is all about inclusive. So we are targeting the local residents as well as local Chinese communities and the students across the UK, and also the regional and domestic tourists. As you know, that Chinese New Year has been put as an important part of the festival calendar to many major cities, including London, Manchester, Dublin, and of course Edinburgh. So we want to make sure that everyone is aware of us celebrating Chinese New Year in the city. And it's not only about Chinese people, it's about having everyone involved and to have an fantastic excuse to celebrate in the relatively quiet time of the year. So think about don't only targeting the you don't have to only targeting the Chinese community. But also you can invite everyone, all your guests and local residents or your visitors to join the celebration. So we know it's always difficult to think about what you can do, especially as a start point. So we have provided 10 different Chinese New Year ideas for your information as a start point. So basically, depending on what industry you're in, if you're food and drink, think about develop a menu, or afternoon tea focusing on Chinese influences. Or simply light up your building in red to join the celebration, or to offer dedicated red envelope promotions towards local residents and the Chinese community. Or at the very least, you could create some social media posts to promote your links to China or your services across the Chinese New Year period. And a very fun way to do so is to have one of your staff to say Happy New Year in Chinese. You can take a short video and post it online, and it will be very well received by our audience. And don't forget to use the hashtag CNY Edinburgh, which we have been using from the very beginning of our campaign. And we will also make sure you get access to some of our key visual social assets. We will share the link after the business briefing, as well as all the slides. So a quick update about the timeline. So of course, we're doing the business briefing today, and all our outdoor advertising will be live from the 17th of January. And feel free to share your ideas and first draft of listings to me by the end of next week. And again, don't worry if you want to do it at a later stage, but to make sure you get the most benefit and most coverage from the major campaign, please do so by the end of next week. And I also have 2 phrases to share with you. If you can quickly remember this, that will be really helpful. And if you meet any Chinese visitors, students in your business, feel free to say this to them, and they will be really, really happy. You will make their day. So the first is 新年快乐, which is Happy New Year. And the second is 恭喜发财, is wishing you a very prosperous, wealthy new year. And as we all love a good fortune, so these 2 phrases will be most common and popular phrases to greet people during Chinese New Year. And do get in touch. So here is my email. If you want to discuss any ideas, if you want to make sure you get everything right, or you're not sure what to do, get in touch with me, and I can have a separate discussion with you, and we will make things work. And don't forget the website chinesenew.scot, and don't forget to use the social handle CNY Edinburgh to share your Chinese New Year promotions ideas, or simply post our key visual poster on your social media channel to support the campaign. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can put it on the chat function, and we will be able to answer all the questions at the end of the briefing. So now it's all from my presentation. I will hand over to Sorens from Red Unit.
Cool. I'm going to share my screen now. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to I'll try to make it short and sweet while you're thinking about some question. So basically today, my presentation is giving you some ideas on how we develop this TV show, but more importantly, is giving you some inspiration to understand Chinese New Year in a slightly bit different way, because we have Heriot-Watt, Confucius Institute's colleagues giving you a macro idea of what Chinese New Year is. And in my presentation, I'm giving you a little bit, I would say, micro level of information about some Chinese New Year details. And then also we take a lot of inspiration from there. And then hopefully you can also take this information to, to develop some of your marketing campaign, to optimize some of your product and services, hopefully to attract Chinese customer and also some of the domestic customer who would want to, have something new for this Chinese New Year. So I'm going to have a very short introduction about myself. So my name is Torrance, and I'm the founder and director at Red Unit. We are an intercultural design consultancy based in Edinburgh. We're focusing on helping business to develop culturally iconic and globally impactful brands. So we have been working with ETAG for a couple of years, and very happy to come back this year to develop the key visual for the Chinese New Year, because we actually helped to launch the first Chinese New Year festival in Edinburgh. So I'm going to quickly go through. A few key areas. The first thing is the key words. Second thing is the colors and sentiment and design for the Chinese New Year. Firstly, we're going to look a little bit at the keywords. So Chinese New Year is one of the biggest celebrations in the Chinese community. So in my personal experience, it is about so many things in this period of time. So it's about, people getting together to share the memory, to talk about something great they had together before, and then they maybe replicate that experience again. So it's about reunion, but more importantly, it's about having fun, and then, have a lot of food, a lot of drinks. And some people will also, because, it's a time that they slow down, so they will do a lot of reflection as well. So, but I think all in all, there is a very, very key word in Chinese New Year is home. In China, it's very, very normal. It's like so many people may not work in their hometown. So during the Chinese New Year, before the Chinese New Year, they will try to go home to spend time with their family. But because there are so many people, the population is so huge in China. So sometimes it's quite difficult to get a ticket to actually go home. So it creates this kind of very interesting phenomenon. There's a word for it, is the spring, 春运. We call it 春运. Basically, it's like in springtime, people travel to go home. And then because the difficulties and the kind of a lot of story happening around that time, so it created a kind of very the kind of home emotion. So, and this is a really, really key part about the sentiment of the Chinese New Year. But however, sometimes there are some people may not be able to make it home, but they will try to replicate that experience wherever they are. So I think home is a really, really important topic of the Chinese New Year. But on the other hand, as I said, having fun is also very important in the Chinese New Year. So yeah, here I'm going to give you some images to give you some idea. This is happening like a very classic scene of some Chinese people trying to go home in China, and then they will be very exciting. But on the other hand, it's also a very, very busy period that a lot of people trying to go home at the same time. So this is actually a film made by Apple back in 2018. So you can check online CNY, Apple CNY campaign. You can see the whole film. But on the other hand, Chinese New Year is about getting together and also having fun together. So this is actually a film made by a short film made by Nike. So it's actually featuring a scene, relatives getting together, and then there's a really interesting detail in there. Is the auntie trying to give the red envelope to the little girl, and the little girl just trying to say, no, it's okay, I don't want it, reject it. And this is actually a really interesting, polite action happening a lot in China. Like next time when you're trying to send some gift to your Chinese friends, and if they say no, don't take it seriously. Usually this is just being polite. So it's a really interesting cultural phenomenon in Chinese New Year. So you could also check about Nike Chinese New Year campaign online. It's a really, really fun and interesting film. So yeah, it presents a very different sentiment from the previous one. The first one is really emotional, going home, and the second one is really fun. So I think they both are very, very important element of the Chinese New Year. Then we're going to look at a little bit of the colors. So to be honest, red is a really, really important color for Chinese New Year. However, if you look at this color palette here, Chinese New Year actually is full of different colors. If you can see, there's firework, there are foods, dumplings, and also you can see flowers. So I'm from the South China. So other than going to the temple market, we also have flower market before the Chinese New Year. So people love to buy flowers, and they will buy different kind of flowers, mean different things. For example, you can see here, this is, I think, is the peach blossom. So people will buy this kind of blossom because they you know, because that usually means like romantic encounter, that means youth. So they will usually buy different kind of flower, means different things. So here you can actually see so many different colors, and these kind of color inspire us to design this year's KV show. But all in all, as I said just now, the meaning of the color is really, really important. So I think if you want to create something, it can be red, but it doesn't have to be red, because there are so many different meaningful color in the Chinese culture that can help you to develop something different, more nuances according for your product and your service. For example, purple is actually a really nice color because that usually means elegance and power. But don't mix purple with white. You can mix purple with gold, and also orange is actually can create a really, really elegant and powerful image. You can also use a little bit pink color, because that means youth and romance. And you can also definitely use the gold and traditional red to come together to create a traditional and celebrative vibe. And definitely you could use gold and yellow, because that basically means fortune and luck. And that's really, really important for Chinese New Year. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the sentiment. So we talk a little bit about a scene of Chinese New Year at the beginning. So I think to summarize Chinese New Year, I would say is a really complex sentiment behind this festival. Overall, it's a very happy time. And also because it's the beginning of the year, it's also really hopeful. And then people getting together, they will talk about something happened in the past, and then they will meet some friends they haven't met for ages. And then it's also, so that means sometimes it's a little bit nostalgic. And also, some people may live far away from home, or some people may not be able to make it home. So sometimes there will be a lot of reflective energy going on. But I think overall, it's a very positive festival. But I think there are also a lot of angle of emotion that you can play to tell the story, to align to your brand's identity and also narrative, to make something slightly bit more different and stand out. Then we're going to talk a little bit about design. So this year's design, as I said, it's inspired by a lot of different things, and we talk about, you know, emotions, and we talk about keywords and sentiments. So you can see here the inspiration we get to create the design. So, you know, that kind of little stickers we play when we were a child, and then the lanterns, the colors of firework, and also the ancient coins from the ancient China, and the classic color, the orange and mandarin color and the red color. And importantly, and also we draw some inspiration from the color of Scotland, because it's happening in the capital of Scotland. You see the thistles color and St. Andrew's Cross, the blue color of Scotland, as well as the lion dance. Well, when we're thinking about this year's title, A Roaring New Year, a broad celebration, we also take into consideration is because we all experience such a difficult time. So it's really important that we come together to celebrate together, to bring up that positivity. So that's the idea behind, you know, the insight, why we create a title like that. So you can see this year's design. It's quite unusual because we didn't use a big area of red, but however, it's like in the evening time, and the firework light up the sky, and there are so many colors going on. So to create that kind of celebrative and very, very happy vibes. Here, giving you a little bit more closer look of the design. So there are actually some meaning behind every colors, and which I think will also give you some inspiration on creating something for yourself. So you can see the 5 different colors in there. The pink means fun, the blue means Scotland, and the green means hope. And the yellow, of course, means fortune, and red means tradition. So I think these keywords are all something you could maybe take to also to develop something for yourself. So I'm going to explain each of the color a little bit more and give you a little bit more inspiration. So firstly, it's fun. So I think maybe many of you are not selling anything. You're not offering Chinese food, or you're not offering any relevant Chinese, you know, services. I think the most important thing is having fun. So the core is not about selling that. It's about creating something people can get together to have fun. So I think fun is a really, really interesting thing that you can actually leverage. Second thing is hope, because during the Chinese New Year, being lucky is very important. So it's really, there could be an idea is you can create some meaningful name or meaningful title for your marketing or for your product. And these names have particular meaning in it. And and full of best wishes, and that's what Chinese people quite like. So back in the day when we go to the Chinese restaurant for Chinese New Year in China, and all these normal dishes they will name in some really fancy name, and for example like a year full of fortune, and then flying high, just they're selling a chicken wing and they call it flying high, something like that, just to give an extra meaning of the products and of the dishes. So that kind of hope and best wishes is really, really important for Chinese New Year. And the next thing is about fortune. So our colleagues is talking, the colleagues just now just talking about the red envelope. So I think that is a really important symbol of fortune. And so definitely you can create a lot of vouchers and this kind of red envelope to send into your send to your customer or your friends. And saying 恭喜发财 or in Cantonese 恭喜发财 are very typical term it's a typical term that relevant to fortune. So you could try to say that to someone, the customer. And the last thing is tradition. So after all, it's a very traditional festival, Chinese New Year, despite in recent years, there's so many young people, they prefer something more interesting and, something more fun, but it's a very traditional festival. So following some tradition, maybe get some support from ETAG or maybe from ourselves on understand the tradition. Of course, the Confucius Institute as well. It's really, really important. So try to do something aligned to the tradition. And I mean, really as simple as you can wearing some red dress and giving red envelope, all this kind of tradition you can incorporate into your service and experience. But the last little point I really want to say is because this festival is happening in Scotland. So there are so many interesting things you can play to also promote your own identity. Because also this is a festival you want to attract a local customer, but also on the other hand, the Chinese student, they're living in this city, they want to experience something different as well. So I do see there are so many opportunities, there are so many products in Scotland, the color schemes or the meaning behind that are really, really aligned to the Chinese New Year. So here are just some examples. So I do think you could offer some of these products into your experience, or like similar product with similar color scheme. That could be a very interesting experience for your customer. So here are just some very quick snapshot of some design that we have done before. I'll give you some very quick example. For example, on the top is like an advent calendar. So there's an advent calendar in Chinese New Year as well. So that advent calendar is the one we created for Brand Scotland back in 2019. It's basically we're trying to create one little poster every day, and then on that day, there will be a Scot and also a Chinese, the Chinese term for, sending wishes to the audience mixed together. And then it's like a very, very intercultural design. And then the second one is we created for the 2020 Chinese New Year when Burns Night and Chinese New Year are on the same day. And we try to create that kind of fusion of design and to give Chinese audience, but also local audience, an excuse to celebrate together. So there are quite a lot of ideas that you can actually leverage from your own culture, I think. So this is the last slide. I wish you all a very happy Chinese New Year, 新年快乐. And if you have any questions about our design or how we can help you, feel free to send me an email, hello@redunit.co, or send an email to my colleague Cameron@redunit.co. We are very happy to help you. Thank you.
Thanks, Torrance. That's great. So that's sort of our presentation, our business briefing for this morning. But we've got an opportunity now for if anyone's got any questions or comments at this point, do put them in the chat or put your hand up or switch your camera on and say hi if you've got any outstanding or urgent questions. If not, then we will ensure that the presentation, the recording, the link to it is sent round to you all afterwards. Do please share it with as many colleagues, business colleagues and partners as you can. And we'll also get information on the key visuals and the social assets sent round to you as well. I mean, I think the big message is absolutely, this is about celebration. This is about community. This is not just about China and Chinese people. This is about the whole recovery piece for Edinburgh. It's about everyone. It fits really neatly with the Year of Stories, which is sort of the national year of celebration that we're in right now, around the broader tourism piece for Scotland. And there's a real opportunity, particularly with the postponement of some of the New Year celebrations that we've had around, or didn't have around Hogmanay, an opportunity to celebrate in a truly international way, which is what Edinburgh is, to bounce into the broad New Year, broad Chinese New Year, for a truly international city. So Alice, have you got any last comments to make?
No, just thank you everyone for coming this morning, and do get in touch with us if you have any questions, and we'd love to have every one of you to get involved, and please do help to spread the words and to send your listings, and do use these great opportunities to promote your businesses and to be part of the celebration.
Okay, on that note, thank you everybody for coming. Do get in touch, and we look forward to celebrating Chinese New Year and the Year of the Tiger with you. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.